I often describe photo shoots like water in that you can fit the container in which you're given. The more budget, the more people, the more time you have, the better the shots tend to be. But that doesn't mean you can't make the most of what it is that you have, because as photographers, that's really what we're doing here. It's easy to get lost in like the Instagram or the threads of, having all of the gear and all of the equipment, having 12 assistants on you, the biggest studio possible, all of the things that make your life a little bit easier. But the reality is, unless you're at some high-end, super echelon niche of photography, you're not going to be in those situations 99% of the time. Most of the time, it's making the most of what it is that you have. And now that makes me think about the shoot I just did yesterday in Calgary, in that we just had 5 or 10 minutes to shoot. We were in the back parking lot of some convention center, and all I had was a camera and a lens. You know me as like a flash guy, you know me as someone who always tries to overcomplicate a situation, but I'm so happy with the shots that turned out, even though I haven't even gone through them yet, that it made me remember what made me start photography in the first place. It's too easy to get lost in the sea of information or the sea of equipment and the lenses and the lights and all of the things in order to tell your story. But the most important thing is that story. It's the point of your photo shoots. It has nothing to do with how you shot it. It's much more important to just focus on that end result. Now, despite having a full studio and pretty much every rental at my disposal when I was in Calgary, I still went with just the one lens and the one camera. I haven't even gone through any of the shots yet, but I'm so stoked on them because all I was doing was focusing on the interaction with the portrait client that I was shooting. And it had nothing to do with the type of equipment or the type of shots. It was just about getting the emotion and getting the right vibe out of the shots we were trying to get. And if I can focus just on that, and I'm not also thinking about the 3 different lights or why my thing isn't firing or why whatever it is that's not working or why it's not coming out the way I want it to come out. Sorry, there's like a really big bird up there. Okay. But despite all of that, I'm still just focusing on that interaction with the client. And I think that's what's one of the most pivotal, important things that you should be doing as a photographer. If you've got an idea, run with it. If you've got a camera, that's probably enough. It's like thinking about photographers from 10 years ago, 15, 20, even 50 years ago. It's like, oh, well, they didn't have a Canon R5, so their shots must have sucked. That's not how it works, right? It's all about who we're shooting, how we're shooting it, and what we're able to create out of the situation that we're in. Look at where I am right now. This was Thomas Heaton's channel. He'd be having a field day. But instead, we're just here talking outside of a rest area just so that I can tell you a little bit about how my flash never fired because I didn't have enough backup batteries to get the job done. And it's kind of funny because if it wasn't for that, maybe I would have hyper-focused on the flash. Maybe I would have hyper-focused on having a little bit too much equipment and just thinking about, oh, but why isn't that firing properly? Or it's not balancing properly to the sunlight, or the colors are off, or whatever it may be. But all I needed to do was focus on that interaction with my client, focus on the ability to tell the story that they were asking me to tell. It doesn't matter that we were in a parking lot, it doesn't matter that it was 2 in the afternoon. The only thing that mattered were the end results. And like I said, I haven't even gone through them. I will throw a few up on here, but I didn't have any B-roll of the actual situation, so unfortunately I just don't have too much shots for you, but I will try to do my best to get some B-roll of what's going on behind me because it's absolutely magnificent here. I'm just outside of Field, BC, and it's quite incredible. We're I think at 1,600 meter elevation, and it's just I needed to pull over just to talk a little bit and just maybe document some of this incredible water that's going on behind me. And it's not about how I'm shooting it. It's not about having an FX3 and having scrims to block out the light or create a little bit of a nicer shot. It's about telling you what it is I have to tell you. And that's what you want to focus on with your photo shoots. Think of your client, think of the people who are paying you or trying to get something out of you, and do your very best to do it. Don't worry about the fact that you don't have that camera, this lens, that flash, whatever. What's important is telling that story. If you love photography as much as I do, or as much as anyone who's willing to spend like 10 grand and just walk around in the middle of nowhere, try to make your dreams come true, well, then that's probably enough. And if you can focus on that and focus on that drive that you have that makes you pick up a camera, it shouldn't really matter how many lenses you have, how many Leicas you bring, how many flashes you have with you. Just focus on that story. Focus on the point of your images. That will bring you so much further than whatever new 1.2 lens you might be eyeing. So it's kind of funny, like despite having a location like this pretty much everywhere in Alberta and in BC. We were still just in the back parking lot of a convention center, which doesn't necessarily make for the nicest images. However, it really isn't about that. It's about the story. It's about the people in the shots. It's about the interaction you're able to pull out of your client that maybe someone else can't do. Maybe they don't like how they look on camera because they're always, oh, I always look awkward, I always look stiff, I always look whatever. But if you're able to bring out something that's a little bit more normal or casual to your viewer because of the jokes you're able to make on set or because of, you know, the self-deprecation you're able to do, you'll get better shots. And that's what's more important. Not about having a better location, having better cameras and all that. And it's not that all those things don't also help. But the most important thing is the people, is the actual story, is what you're trying to shoot, not how you're shooting it. Just remember that. Yeah, damn, what a cool place. How do you find a composition in this big of a scene? Like, seriously, all you lifestyle guys, I'm like genuinely impressed. One of those things that's always like seemed easy. Same with birding, I guess. But like, this is, there's like just so much to look at. And how do you pinpoint it, right? Like having the greatest location sometimes might not always be the greatest thing that you need. Maybe just being in the back parking lot of a convention center is what you actually need, because you can focus on that interaction. You can focus on the story a little bit more, not get lost with the landscape, not get lost with all the equipment, but instead just, yeah, focusing on that story. Anyway, I hope some of this was in focus. Man, that water is crystal in the lake. Damn, it's so like turquoise blue, it's beautiful. All right, so moral of the story for today is that listening to YouTubers with 2 cameras and 2 lenses telling you to not worry about cameras and lenses will help you and your photography in the long run. Having all of this equipment is something you build over decades and years and years and years of shooting. And oftentimes we're just buying something for one shoot one time, and it ends up just collecting dust for years. And remembering why we got that first camera, that first lens, is gonna actually progress your photography so much more than any new piece of tech that you could buy. Having that first camera, having that first lens makes you go from 0 to actually being able to do it. After that, it's all gravy. It's all just whipped cream and cherries and crystal clear blue water. And I mean, I am along the salmon run somewhere, I think. No, maybe we're a bit too far now. But I do feel like there should be a hell of a lot of bears around here. So I might skedaddle before I get skedaddled. But I'm very happy that I pulled over and stopped and checked this out, because this is pretty damn incredible. And has nothing to do with the point of this video, but I figured if I was driving through here, I figured I might as well bring you guys along with me. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to me rant a little bit. Leave a like on your way out, maybe subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see you guys in a couple days. Later.